3, the finale.
Okay, guys, so Dialect Monist here asked us, would you consider yourselves rare as Star Wars fans in your age group? Or does everyone you know who's your age like and appreciate Star Wars? I'm assuming you never saw the originals in the theater. So, I mean, I'm going to say, first of all, we have a lot of friends that are, like, geeky anyways, and a lot of people have shared interests with us, so I think I have a lot of friends, a lot of our friends have seen Star Wars. So there's fewer of them, there's definitely a lot fewer of them who haven't seen it. But in terms of as many fans, I think I know, like, there's not as many that are huge fans. We have a few, but overall, we have maybe, like, I don't know, not everyone is a big fan, but most people have seen the Star Wars
Well, it's
series.
like, I don't know, how many people do we know that are, like, really big into Star Trek? I know, like, Katie is, and Aisha and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think we know less people who are into Star Trek than we know that are into
That's
Star
what I
Wars,
mean,
so.
but they're still out there.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, whether it's normal, I don't think it's normal for any generation to be, like, a hardcore fan of Star Wars. But it's something that everyone has seen and everyone kind of likes. It's like, if you're like, oh, I've never seen Star Wars, people are, even our age, they're like,
Yeah.
really? You've never seen Star Wars? It's just like something you expect. It'd be like if you said, I've never seen The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You've never seen this? Like, I know you may not like or be a fan of The
it,
Simpsons,
yeah.
but you've never actually seen it? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Star Wars, like, it kind of, you know, transcends any certain generation at this point,
Yeah.
because every generation there's new movies coming out, so everyone kind of go back and watch other ones and stuff. So I don't know. I think we have a decent amount of fans, or friends that are fans, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do. But I don't. Well, you're mentioning it's maybe because we have like a lot of nerdy friends, but I don't think so. Because even when I think of a lot of my friends outside of our larger circle that are my age that I went to school with, for example, like they've all seen it too, and they're just like normal guys that, you know, they work in the trades and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Not people you would typically identify as being nerdy.
Yeah.
But they still have seen it,
Yeah.
and they still like, yeah, whatever, Star Wars, it's good.
Okay, so Jay Stone asks us, loved episode of Rey's parents, but it seemed Leia and Han were familiar with Rey. Leia seemed to really wish her a very intimate goodbye when she left to find Luke. And on Han's end, she looked up to him and had his natural talent to fly. So I really think that Rey might be Han and Leia's daughter.
Well, I mean, that's a whole episode of our show right there.
Yeah.
Um,
But in terms of, like, that's, to me, that's
yeah,
a pretty good theory.
a lot of people have pointed out the fact that, like, at the end when Rey is leaving, Princess Leia seems to have, like, a very sort of personal sort of connection to her.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was because she's like, you know, oh, go wish my brother, like, blah, 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 and, you know, you seem
That's
to be
what
the
I
future
interpreted. That's why I didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, you were with my husband or my ex-husband when he died, and you went on this big journey with him, and also you're going off to go bring my brother back into the fold.
And
so therefore,
you're
you're
the
like,
first one to see him and everything.
yeah. So you're kind of like a daughter to me, but not. But so that's all I interpreted that as.
Yeah, me too.
But I can see why people think that. But personally, I think that's all that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like the sort of ability to fly the Millennium Falcon and her being Han's daughter kind of makes sense too. I get that, but like, you know, well, I guess I do. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of possibilities for Rey's parenthood, which we've talked about a bit.
I think that's too obvious. I mean, she can fly the Millennium Falcon. She understands how things work. But you can also argue that that's like Luke, because Luke and Anakin both had like an instinctive understanding of machinery and stuff like that.
But yeah, that's definitely a good theory that you gave us, Jay. It was, you know, I would buy that if that was the explanation I got for who she was.
Yeah,
I would
fine.
get it. That would be okay with that.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next. Nicholas Ramirez says, hey guys, do you both own Stormtrooper armor? You are hardcore fans, so you should consider it. I just bought some and I feel badass. Well, that's awesome, Nicholas. That sounds really cool. Our friend Luis definitely really wants to buy some for himself. I think.
Do we have the Kylo Ren mask?
No, he bought it and brought it home and everything. I have it. I should read the box somewhere though. But I mean, I would like Stormtrooper outfit. I don't know how often I'd get a chance to wear it though.
It's pretty pricey. That's the only thing. Like, yes, it's cool, but like, we don't have $1,000 to spend on it. I knew this would happen. I warned you. Didn't I warn you? Yeah, so no, neither of us do. I think we'd both like to. It's just there's a certain cost that goes with, like, I'm vaguely aware of what the expense that goes into making that stuff. It's really cool if you can do it, but you have to have a little bit more disposable income than we have. I mean, we essentially have like a student lifestyle, so that's kind of out of our budget.
So as an addition to that one, Mike, if you could own any Stormtrooper armor, which Stormtrooper armor would you own?
Sandtrooper.
Yeah?
I like the shoulder pad.
Yeah, that's cool.
What about you?
Yeah, but you know what? I gotta admit, I did like the clone ones from the prequels.
That would be my third choice.
Yeah, I really like those ones too.
Because you know why? Because the original Stormtroopers are just a little bit too clunky looking. Like, they've got like really big breasts and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like kind of odd shape.
The Force Awakens ones are sleek. I like that.
The Clone Troopers and the Force Awakens ones are a lot more sleek and streamlined.
Yeah. All right. So this one's coming from Cam Carroll. Love the channel, guys. Keep up the great work. Here's for the Q&A or some questions. So one, favorite Star Wars character. We kind of answered Jedi and Sith, but let's choose a favorite character.
Luke.
Luke?
Luke.
Well, actually, mine would be Han, but he wasn't part of the Jedi or Sith question, so yeah, I would go with Han. All right, next.
I guess it's fitting that for Halloween we dressed up as Luke and Han.
Yeah. All right. 2, least to most favorite Star Wars movie.
I can never just. I'm gonna say Star Wars by default.
They said least the most favorite, so you have to start from the
Oh,
bottom.
I gotta start from the bottom. Definitely Attack of the Clones. And then, so it's always a toss-up, like, is Star Wars better than Empire Strikes Back?
No, you said we could include all of them, so where's The Force Awakens fit into this now?
Oh! True.
Okay, I'll just do
right
mine.
now, after... Okay, so Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars.
Okay. My list is very similar, but I go Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, New Hope, and then Empire Strikes Back.
You know what? I will admit that Empire Strikes Back is obviously a more sophisticated and a better made movie, but like if it's a rainy day and what do you want to watch? Star Wars. I remember one time I was just sitting at home, like when I lived with my parents, and I'm just flipping through, and I think Star Wars was playing on TBS. So I just started watching it, and my sister walks by and she goes, "How many times can you watch this movie?" And I'm like, never gets old.
Yeah. All right, 3. What characters do you guys think you're most similar to in the Star Wars universe?
Luke. It's always Luke, because he is like me. He's a nerd. He's like unpopular, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't go as far as to say I'm like Han Solo, so I'm not going to go with that one. But I would have to say I was most like any character. A mix between Obi-Wan and Poe Dameron. There we go. I can do a bit of both.
In some ways, I'm more like Obi-Wan Kenobi and like the old sage.
Okay, next.
Because I know everyone's stories.
What inspired you guys to start your channel? Well, we mentioned that one.
Yeah, we kind of answered that. It seemed like a fun thing to do. We knew that we could do it, and we were looking for something creative to do. We wanted to be involved in YouTube, and just seemed like, you know, if you can make a sports show, why can't you make a Star Wars show? And so we did it, and it was more or less successful.
Yeah. All right, next. Do you guys hate the prequels? Personally, I don't just think I just think they're poorly executed. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't hate them. I liked episode 3. I would say I liked it. Episode 2 had some good ideas. It was probably the most boring one, but it had some good ideas that were in there. Overall, like, okay, I loved Mace Windu's character. I thought that was cool. I loved Obi-Wan's character in the prequels. I thought they were really good. And it had a lot of, like, good world building that's nice to kind of have beforehand. But overall, yeah, I don't hate them at all. I don't. No. I just don't watch them that much.
I don't hate them. I think I would agree in that the potential was there. They were just like the writing was kind of crappy, the directing was kind of crappy, and as a result, the actors didn't have much to work with. So the acting was also kind of crappy. But they definitely had their moments. I love the design. I think the John Williams music score is fantastic. I appreciate the fact that they were not what was expected. They have this kind of crazy quality to it, and even that's why, like, I have an appreciation for Episode 1 in the sense that it's just like this really like, who in the right mind would spend all this money making a movie like this?
Yeah.
But only George Lucas is crazy enough to do that, and I kind of like it for that reasons.
Even though it's like, I don't know, episode 1 just almost had no point. I don't really understand anything.
In the larger sense, but that's why I mean they're poorly executed, because it's like, didn't need that.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it, but like,
so
nothing.
All the main story elements that I think you needed from the prequels could have been made into one decent, good movie.
Yes. You could have had a 3-hour Revenge of the Sith that got nominated for Best Picture, I think.
Yeah.
Handled in correctly.
Yeah.
But instead we got 2 movies that were bad, or considered bad, and 1 movie that's considered surprisingly good because the bar was so low.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, it's not crappy."
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the prequels. I don't love them, but they are what they are.
Okay, so what got you guys into Star Wars?
My parents.
My brothers.
Ironically.
Yeah.
Because they walked out on it. I actually, people say, what was the first time you saw Star Wars? What did you think? I actually don't know, because I was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, which is kind of nice. I would like to have that experience of not seeing Star Wars and then seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of comforting in the sense that it's always been something that's just, it's been there.
Yeah, I've seen it since I was, like, since I can remember. Since I was 5, I had seen it, so I don't know. It's hard to, like, imagine a time when I didn't know about Star Wars or the plot. Or
yeah, my parents were like, "Oh, Michael likes science fiction and fantasy and stuff. Maybe he'll like Star Wars." And I remember them telling me that the one thing that, like, sort of won me over was the cantina scene. I was, like, laughing my ass off the whole time, because it's like the Wolfman's having a beer and stuff.
Yeah.
People forget the humor of that scene. It's like, you know, they're playing 1930s jazz music for some reason. It's like, it's supposed to be funny, right?
And did we play Battlefront? I played Battlefront 2, and we've tried the third one. Our friend brought it over for PS4, and I tried the beta. It was good. It was fun. I just don't play it that much right now.
I don't really. I've played it, but I wouldn't say I play it. Mm-hmm. If you know what I mean. Like, it's not something I go back to, especially now that it's not free anymore.
Yeah.
I was never a huge fan of the Battlefront series, just because it kind of passed me by. I know it's a well-made series.
Yeah.
The only thing I found with Battlefront 3 is it has more of that die, respawn, and then you get to where you're going.
Live, die, repeat.
Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. I agree. I was never really a huge, well, that's not true. I really did like shooting games, and I know it's not a first-person shooter. I was never a huge shooter fan. Like, I played Halo 3 a lot, not competitively. I played it a lot online, but that was kind of the most I played anything. I was never really in the Call of Duty series. I was never really into shooters too much, and there's no story in 3. Yeah. So I kind of was actually a bit upset about that, because that's kind of my favorite part, is the story mode of first-person shooters. I don't really like playing them too much online. But,
oh, well, for me, like, to this day, one of the games I've played the most in my entire life is Team Fortress 2, even though I was just playing it the other day. Right. And so I love those sort of team-based, like, even like CSGO and stuff like that. They're great. Battlefront just didn't... It didn't wow me. It didn't disappoint. It was just, especially because the price gouging that they're doing that, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I played the beta for 3 because it was free, and it was a lot of fun. I think, like, the Hoth map was really cool. You got to fly around in the ships. They're all awesome. You know, I felt it was a bit one-sided. I don't know if this is still true if you play online now, but in the beta for sure, it's definitely one-sided on the Empire side, because, like, they didn't really have to do anything, and the match would just go in their favor. But the rebels had to actively try to stop the AT-ATs.
Right.
So it was kind of like more work.
Attack or defend.
Yeah. But the graphics look great in the new game.
The graphics are fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm more excited for the Lego Force Awakens game, which we're going to play at some point.
Yes.
So
I am definitely going to be picking that up when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's on Wii.
Okay. So next is from Chris Wobolt. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I hope that James Earl Jones gets to reprise his role as Vader. It won't be the same without him. Question: do you guys think Rebels is a better show than the Clone Wars? Why or why not?
I do not think it's a better show than the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I don't either.
There's nothing wrong about it. We've watched quite a few episodes.
Yeah.
We haven't kept up with season 2. Are they on season 2?
Oh yeah, no, we've watched season 1. We haven't finished season 2. We're just a little bit into it. Yeah.
It's fine, but to me personally, I really, really like the Clone Wars. I said, like, at the time, it was probably the best Star Wars audio-visual product since Empire Strikes Back. I think it was a better series than Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Sith or any of the prequels.
Yeah, it handled pretty adult themes even for a kid's show.
And the longer it went on, the better it got. But
it's like, I don't know, it's weird. So when people say Disneyfied things, I always like, it's not that they make it, I don't know, it's not that they like make it bad. I just feel like it's just, they just get scared to handle anything that's an adult theme, even if it's marketed for kids. Like the Clone Wars show was marketed still kind of for kids, a bit older maybe, let's say, but a kid could watch it and
get something out of it.
And get something out of it, but there were still adult themes. They weren't scared of talking about like, you know, people raiding a village or something like that, people dying. Like,
whereas Rebels was a little bit more kid friendly.
Yeah, they're a bit. They always feel like they're
a little bit more cartoony.
Yeah, I always feel they're too worried to touch on anything that could be like considered kind of a bit more adult themed. That's what always like something felt Disneyfied to me, where they're just too afraid to do that. Force Awakens, like, luckily wasn't like that. It definitely handled adult themes as much as Star Wars does.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a fine show. It's like, it's not like it's bad or anything, but definitely prefer Clone Wars.
Plus, yeah, the Obi-Wan and like Anakin bromance was always kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
All right. So next, OTM Shank. Okay. Do you guys think that all the Star Wars spin-off films are even a good idea? In my opinion, they take away from the big event, and that is the real Star Wars movies that comes out every other year. You know, I would agree with you for sure if these spin-off films were happening at the same like time frame as the new movies. I think it would take away from it.
Of course. Yeah.
But I think now, because they're sort of anthology films and are just kind of like additional information, I can't say no to more Star Wars. So the fact that we get them is better to me than nothing.
Well, it's like saying the expanded universe tells other stories other than the movies. Does that take away from the movies? No. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And especially, like, the problem, some people will say, yes, the expanded universe does take away from the movies, but usually when they say that, their rationale is that the expanded universe does not have the same quality as the movies. So, like, the fact that you have all these kind of subpar books and comics, like, they just churn them out, right? Like, some of them are good, but a lot of them, to be honest, come on, admit it. A lot of them aren't that good. Even the video games, a lot of them aren't that good.
Yeah.
So that diminishes it. But okay, so there's, like, 7 novels a year.
Yeah.
And there's, 60 issues of comic books a year. So of course it's going to be like, how could you quality control it? Well, if you're just having one, let's say you had one novel, and no comics, no video games, no nothing,
and
just
Disney
one.
threw like a couple $100 million at it.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think the quality control will be there on the spin-off. So I think for that reason, it won't do anything.
Yeah,
it'll just world build.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like they're kind of, so far the ones that we know about seem like good ideas to me. I haven't heard one that seemed like a bad idea that I wouldn't want to see yet. So we'll see if it's like one of Luke's day off on the farm or something. Like Luke goes to the beach. I don't want to see that, but
Luke goes to the beach. Keep coming back to that.
Yeah. How Obi-Wan got his funk back or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough. But like, if the ones that we've seen so far have seemed good, so I don't know, or the ones that we know are coming out seem good.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so this one's coming from Chris Vellner, and it's quite a doozy. So sorry if we laugh about it. Any spoilers about the big reveal that Leia in Episode 4 was actually a clone? Explaining why she had a British accent, being raised by the Empire, and why Leia didn't have the accent during her appearance in Star Wars Rebels. Okay, guys, this is the last question for you here. They want us to each tell a funny story about our friendship. So, you go ahead first if you want, Mike.
Funny story about our friendship. Well, I remember... I remember... Because I was saying, like, we used to use Patrick's room as the living room. So, there was a bunch of times where, like, me and my girlfriend at the time, we would just chill out in Patrick's room and use it as a living room, even when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like we would order like Chinese food delivered to our to the house and just like eat it in his room. And one time, it was me, Serena, and Shabby was there.
Yeah.
All three of us were all just hanging out in his room, and Patrick, and we have like a box of pizza, and we're playing a video game, or we're watching
Scrubs.
We're watching Scrubs, and Patrick walks in through the door to his own room.
It's closed, so I just opened it. Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up?" And we're just like, "Oh, hey, Patrick." We're just like eating stuff. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And you're actually surprisingly patient with us about
Well,
that.
I was like, you guys are eating lunch and watching Scrubs. That's what I was about to do anyways by myself. So, okay. And I just sat down and like watched it with them.
Yeah, so that was pretty, and that's not like that happened once. That like happened multiple times.
One of mine, I think, was one year for Halloween. Mike and I did a couple's costume. The two of us dressed up as the two guys from Dick in a Box.
Andy Samberg and
Justin Timberlake.
JT.
Yeah, Michael was Justin Timberlake. I was Andy Samberg. We dressed up with the boxes on our on our belts, but it looked like it was right there on our crotch. We were walking around. We had a picture of it actually. And at one point, we were both walking around outside, walking to this club, and this guy outside saw us, and he's like, "Hey, look, they got the dick in the box."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, look, he's got the dick in the box."
That was funny.
Like he knew the reference, but like it's just an awkward way of phrasing it.
Yeah. Okay, actually, one last question here. This one's coming in from Patrick Antonacci, and it's directed to you, Michael. And it says, "Do you agree that Patrick is the coolest and best person you've ever met in your life?" It's a pretty specific question.
So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I know you guys asked us to do this, so we did it. So this is it. So I hope you guys appreciate the answers we gave you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if there probably was like a couple of people that got left out. How long is this thing already? Like, this is going to be like, we have, I think, 90 minutes of recording time, so unfortunately we can't include each and every one of you as much as we would like to.
If you have a very specific question that you want to ask us personally, you can do it in the Facebook message, and we'll get back to you on that.
Or message us.
Facebook's
Facebook's probably the best way to contact us if you really have a burning question that you need answered. Sorry if we left any of you out, but we appreciate the fact that so many of you asked for this. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.